Hi, my name is Janja. I come from Slovenia. I hope you're all able to enjoy this spring that we have this year. And soon we will have the first fruits of the spring. And if I ask you, what is your favorite fruit? Would your answer be something seasonal, something exotic, grown more around the equator? Or maybe something a bit more traditional, a bit more known in Europe and in Europe's cuisine?
Some of the apples we eat come from our backyards. Well, some have the possibilities to have orchards. There are numerous sorts of apples we can plant. The newer sorts that need spraying and trimming to have those big, glossy apples like we see in stores. But are apples from home production enough? For example, in Slovenia we produce, on a good year, up to 70,000 tons of apples. And on average, we eat between 40 to 45 kilos of apples and apple products. 25 kilos of fresh apples per year. Well, if I judge by myself and my mum, I would say we eat much more than 25 kilos. But if I look at my dad, well, that sort of balances things out. So, some of the apples do come from our home orchards. But how long do your apples keep? Or how about those who do not have the opportunity for their own orchards? Most of the apples we buy at the supermarkets come from the big industrial orchards like this. The apples are grown on a wire, trimmed in a way that picking the apples and managing the trees can be done from the ground. These big orchards have various sorts of apples, this minimizing the different risks. For example, we had frost affecting our orchards for the couple of seasons now. By having different trees in different stages of vegetation, they had at least some fruits. To produce big and glossy apples, these orchards are regularly sprayed and trees replanted after a few years when the production is less than expected. But also, these big producers are coming up with some very interesting campaigns. For example, in my local supermarket, I have bought a bag of apples labeled Misfits. Those were apples too small to be sold at the regular price. Guess why I bought them? But sometimes at your local market or on some farm, you come across an apple that's a bit small with spots, misshapen, coming from an old apple tree, planted probably by great grandfather. Trees that were not trimmed or sprayed, growing on the fields, a good distance apart. They maybe even have some birds nesting in them. High trunk orchards are very traditional for southeast Slovenia, where I come from. They played a big part in self production of fruits and fruit products on farms. But with a lot of things turning modern, even our taste for apples changed. People started to plant new sorts of apples. They gave bigger, more store like fruit. With trimming the apple trees low, you also did not need the ladder for picking the fruits. But at some point, new and modern became a standard, and you could not buy the old sorts of apples to plant. Until Kozyansko Regional Park brought old apples back in fashion by promoting high trunk apple orchards as one of the most important life habitats. They also helped farmers to take care of the existing high trunk orchards, and they have established the tree nursery where we can now buy young, old apple trees. All sorts of apples are a new trend in Slovenia. Farmers proudly say that their products come from high trunk apple orchards, and by organizing a festival of Kozyansko apple, The general knowledge about all sorts of apples and the brand Kozjansko apple is now very well known in Slovenia. Well, I hope you like apples, small, big, spots or wrinkles alike. We have a saying in Slovenia: an apple a day keeps a doctor away. Thanks for joining me. And at the end, I would like to share a family recipe with you, which tastes the best made from the old sorts of apples. So, for my grandfather apple pie, you will need some flour, some butter, sugar, egg, vanilla sugar, some lemon, five medium sized apples, and some cinnamon. First, you put all the ingredients for the dough into a big bowl. Knead the dough until it's consistent. Then separate it into two halves. Roll out the first half and put it into a baking tray. It's crucial to have that battered old baking tray for this. Peel and thinly slice the apples. Spread them evenly and put some cinnamon on it. Roll out the other half and put it on top. Then slice it into small squares and bake it for approximately 45 minutes at 190 degrees, or until your apple pie is golden brown. Enjoy my grandfather apple pie and dober tek!